Hey, how about we do some more Toast and Jam? Thanks for joining us again this week. I'm Tim Oster, Toast, and this is Paul McDonald or Jam. Wait a second. There's no jam this week again. Paul is busy with the tournament stuff going on. We'll hope to get him back again next week. Toast and Jam is presented by Valley City State University, and we broadcast from the Rhodes Science Center. And our guest today, Jimmy Howard, Valley City girls basketball coach, still coming down, I'm sure, from the weekend. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me on.
What a ride. Congratulations, first of all. Valley City winning 2 in a row now. State A tournament over the weekend. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know how to put it in words, actually, just trying to come down and understand the significance of what we did.
No kidding. And we talked about this earlier. Kind of a roller coaster ride for you. You know, expectations were high. You won one last year, and now you try to come back and win 2 in a row, and that's always tough to do.
Yeah, we've never had those expectations. So how do you deal with them? And I think the expectations were higher just because of the amount of kids we also brought back. We had some trials and tribulations throughout the season trying to deal with that. And I think right at the end of the season after we lost to Central Cass, we just kind of sat down together and kind of had a heart-to-heart about remember why you picked up a basketball in the first place, right? It was fun, and you got to play with your friends, and hopefully it's still fun because that's why you're out. I would hope you're not out because you don't like, if you don't like it, why are you still playing, type of thing, and we just talked about the joy of having it and to remember that it's, don't take it for granted, and so we saw the excitement at the end of the Wahpeton game, and we saw the excitement at the playing game with Carrington, and then I think that confidence carried into the state tournament. We saw that same excitement at the tournament, each win being celebrated, and just super excited about it.
We all know that when you're having fun, you play a little looser.
Yes.
It loosens things up a lot, doesn't it?
Yes.
How did you've got a number of leaders on that team, though. How did they react to that Central Cass loss?
It started, we were down, and I had to tell them, we're not done. Getting the number 1 seed afforded us that opportunity if you lose another game. Like the first round, if you lose, you're done. So we advanced to the second round automatically. And so, it just, I don't know. It was hard because they had high expectations. They wanted to win the whole thing. And the way the season had gone, they felt like we'll probably win it. And Central Cass played amazing.
Lights out.
Yeah, shot the ball extremely well. It didn't matter what we did defensively. They just couldn't miss. And, we missed some layups and free throws and things like that could have definitely helped us. And we lost by 6. And that was kind of the thing. The message was like, they played phenomenal. And I tip my cap to them they played great. And we didn't play great. And we only lost by 6. So there's another game. But we got real tight in that Wahpeton game, and finally at the end just turned it on, and
going back to that Castleton game too, Sky had like 13 points in that first quarter and did not score the rest of the game, which surprised me a little bit.
Yeah, and I think she missed some free throws and some layups too that could have helped. We got a little stagnant in our offense and opportunities, and when everyone starts getting tight, and who wants to take the shot, and and it was a little odd that she didn't assert herself offensively in the second half, but some of that was due to our own being stagnant, not moving the ball or standing still, and a little bit of that was just kind of how they were shading and some other things, trying to take Katie away, but then also apply pressure. And like I said, if you're not hitting shots, you start to kind of shy away from some of that stuff. So, but she came back strong in the Wahpeton game and throughout the rest of the tournament.
Well, let's talk about that Carrington game that got you into the state tournament. That was crazy.
Oh, I mean,
how many gray hairs there? I don't see too many yet.
Well, that's because I got it cut short. we had just played them too, and didn't play great. And they expected to be at the tournament, so I thought, we're going to get their best game, and can we show up and give them our best game? And we just said, basically after the Central Cass game, like, just find a way. Doesn't have to be pretty, doesn't have to be by a lot of points. There's no style points in this. Like, just find a way to win. And that's, really what we did is we got gritty at the end. We missed, Katie had a great move to her left side, misses the layup with under a minute to go, I think. And it's like, in my head, I'm going, maybe this is it. Like, maybe it's just not our year. And then I think we fouled and they missed a free throw. And so now we're down 2 and come back down and, with under 20 seconds to go, and I trusted the girls. We had the defense we wanted. They were in man, which meant Katie was going to be one-on-one in the post, and one of their better post defenders had fouled out, and so the girls did a phenomenal job. They knew where the ball was supposed to go. I trusted them, and we got it down there, and then she misses, and you're going, oh, great. And then she gets the offensive rebound. She's such a good offensive rebounder, and, she goes back up, scores, gets the and one, and she had just airballed her last free throw, so you're like, okay, what's going to happen here? But she knocks it down, and then it's kind of a whirlwind. We should have got a steal. We didn't. And then their girl gets a shot up, and it hits the rim and goes straight up in the air, and you're going, is it, I can't quite tell from where I'm sitting if it's going to lean to the hoop. And then Sky came down with the rebound, and I just, the girls played so hard and just believed in what we were doing, and we came away with it. We found a way.
Your two bigs have always been very, very strong inside.
Yes, and that makes us different than a lot of teams. It's hard to prepare for us, just because a lot of teams don't play that way anymore. And we put a huge emphasis on getting points in the paint. The new style of basketball is layups, threes, and free throws. And I said, ironically, we kind of play that way, but we don't consider it layups. We consider it paint touches and paint scores. And we put a huge emphasis on paint scores over the three-point line. Three-point line is needed to space things out, but we have a huge emphasis on getting in the paint. And that was evident on the free throws that we get to shoot in games.
Yeah, the paint's going to win a lot of games for you.
Well, especially when I think at the state tournament, everyone but South Prairie, I think, was shooting well under their percent from 3, and so if you're counting on that and you're not hitting them, and you're going to get points consistently in the paint. Katie shoots about 60% from the field. That's pretty good, and I think we shot, right around 47% for the season. I mean, that's pretty good, and you're scoring a little over a point per possession. You're going to win a lot of games. Well,
and you got a good start in that state tournament with Devils Lake. You got off and running.
Yeah. And we knew what we were going to expect. We've seen them a lot through the EDC and even at the beginning of the year. So, we knew there was going to be pressure. We knew some of that, but we also knew we had the advantage inside with the size. And I wasn't expecting as many block shots as we got. We blocked a lot of shots that game, and I think we ended up with 50 rebounds in that game. And so really controlling the paint, limiting possessions that's a huge emphasis for us, because I always look at second chance, third chance, fourth chance. Every time you get another chance, your percents kind of go up. And so not allowing teams to get 2 or 3 shots per possession is just huge for us. And then that limits, some of those scrappier teams on how they score. And, and we're, like I said, pretty efficient offensively. So if we can limit you to 1 and we can be efficient offensively, we're going to put a lot of pressure on you.
Second shot's very important too. Getting that next shot.
Yes.
It's big. Let's go to that championship game. Kind of a slow start. Had me worried for a while. Were you worried?
A little bit. They
Were you down by 15?
Or
14? Or I don't know what it was.
22 to
11?
8 or 9 at one point, I believe. And then, we had a timeout, and the girls came over. Maybe it was the end of the first quarter, and I said, well, I think we were down 12 at the end of the first quarter, and I said, now the work begins. But we've also been there. We were down 14 with Wahpeton. And so, okay, how do we come back? And I think the girls didn't press. We didn't start forcing shots. We still shot. I mean, we weren't hitting threes, and we still shot some of them, but they were good threes. And we just stayed with what we do well, which was get the ball in the post. If they double, we'll kick out and we'll look for shots. Katie does a good job with that. And then if she's one-on-one, we like our chances. And so we got to the free throw line. We just kept battling and chipping, and then it became like get it under 10. Then once we got it under 10, I think we got it down to 6. And then it was, can we keep it at 6 or under before halftime? And then Maddie hit a big 3. And then, we don't do a great job of running the clock down. Like a 30-second possession for us is very rare. And we ran that clock all the way down, and we got caught on a wide open reversal, and she knocked down the 3 to tie it up. And I think that gave us a ton of momentum heading into the second half. And then it was just a battle back and forth. And, one team played from the perimeter and one team played from the paint. And we ended up shooting a lot of free throws. But going back and watching it, there's a few calls that maybe could have gone either way on both sides. But for the most part, we stuck to what we do. And if you play in the paint, I feel like usually you get more free throws. And so, and then at the end they had a foul, and it was kind of eerie in there at one point. I think Sky was shooting a free throw, and like you could hear a pin drop in there, like just dead silent. And she knocked it down. And the girls, we didn't shoot free throws well in that game until the fourth quarter. And then
when you need to.
Yes. And then we hit them to end the game and clinch it. And I think I just remember looking up at the clock once we got it to 7, which I knew then was, they could hit threes, but that's 3 possessions. And I felt pretty confident once we got it to 7, we were going to be okay. And then I was just like, I can't believe this is happening again. And I have some superstitions, but the Class A tournament's been won from the 3 seed every single year. And so when we got the 3 seed again this year, I was like, well, maybe there's something to it. But, the girls just continued to grind and work hard and do what we do. And I think their belief in our system and how we run it is a huge benefit for us.
Well, I think they like the route to the state tournament, too. That's 2 years in a row like that.
Yeah, and when you win games, it helps to buy into what you're doing. And so I just think the buy-in on how we play helps us a lot. Because, you look around the state, and I'm not just talking girls basketball, boys too. It's driving, kick, a lot of threes being shot, things like that. And so obviously, the girls work on it, and we do. And we shoot a decent percentage from 3, but we don't live out there. And it's just so much different than how everyone plays for them to stay bought into it. Because, post-ups and drop steps aren't always highlight reel type things, but they believe in it, and and then when you believe in something, it works. And I don't know.
Kind of funny. We can go back to the Barnes County tournament. We had 2 teams that were 2 champions, Lemoore, Litchfield Marion. You played them.
Yeah, and they were the 3 seed as well. And so they, I felt so bad for them when we played them the second time, and Annika had gotten hurt, because she was a big part of that team, and a big mismatch for a lot of people, just because they have the 2 posts and the Delabard sisters, and then Annika's just a different player, and she's such a good kid, and for her to come back and play, I think she was player of the game one of their games at the state tournament. She's just a tough kid. And so I felt awful when it happened, because I was like, they have a good chance of doing something special. And you wondered if she was going to come back, and would that hurt their chances of doing that if they didn't have her. And, and then she came back, and they won the whole thing. And I couldn't be happier for them. They also had to go through that trial and tribulation when they lost her, and had to adjust late in the season, kind of like we did, and then they came back. So kind of crazy that we played each other in the championship game of the Barnes County tournament, and then we both end up winning our respective state titles.
Yeah, no kidding. And that was their first win. I mean, first championship for the girls program. The boys had won it back in 1976. 50 years ago this week, believe it or not. And they went undefeated that year.
Okay.
The boys did in 1976. Okay, so you lose some seniors.
Yep.
Cupboard's not bare, though. You know, you got to be tasting, maybe looking ahead a little bit. I know you've got to fill some spots. Talk about that a little bit.
You know, we're going to lose 6 seniors and then a foreign exchange student out of the 14 that we had, which a little side, like, what an experience for Elena, getting to do all this as a foreign exchange student, be on the team, and get to experience the whole state run. Like, that's got to be, I would think, just a phenomenal experience. But we do return Katie and Sky, who are a big part of what we do. And then Kinsley Glant really stepped up in the state tournament, and so did Mariah in the championship game. She had a couple big baskets and did some stuff really good for us. She's been injured last year a little bit, and then she got sick late in this season, and she's kind of working her way back and trying to get her stamina and stuff back. And so, those two are going to probably slide into a spot, and then we got a third spot on the starting lineup that's open. We got, Bryn Leak, Nora Peterson, our 2 kids that could possibly fill those positions. And then, losing Dakota's length and her defensive ability is going to be missed. Katie Koka's defense will be missed as well, and their size. We're losing 5'10", 5'10". Rylan in practice pushing Katie around and making things difficult. She's another 5'10", 5'11" player. Kaylee Nielsen's another 5'10", 5'11" player that was in the rotation. Kinley Suffolk's leadership, her excitement, her energy, she's kind of the pulse of the team. We're going to miss that as well. And so, and then Maddie Freeze, she played a huge state tournament for us. She had a huge weekend, hitting big threes, getting some key rebounds and things like that. And she's just kind of a stat stuffer. I mean, they might not be huge stats all the time. I think one game she had 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 6 points, and played really good defense for us. And she had games where she had, 7 threes or something in a game, and she would do that. But we're going to miss that as well as her leadership there. And so we just got some people that are going to have to step in. But the good news is they've all experienced this for 2 years. They've been in those practices, and they understand the work that it's going to take to just try to get back. Don't take it for granted. It's not going to happen every year. I gave the girls an analogy, and I'm like, I know you don't know who he is, but Dan Marino, in like his rookie year, second year, something like that, they go to the Super Bowl, they don't win. He's like, oh, we'll be back, and never makes it. So, don't take it for granted. And, I think late in the season we said, just leave it on the floor. And if it's not, if we don't win, at least we can say we did everything we could. And so hopefully the girls step into that next year, is just give everything we have. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but we have nothing to be ashamed of if we play our best.
Well, the question out there now is, does Valley City move up, or where are you at now in the class system?
So they changed the point system to 6 years and 19 points. So we shouldn't be moving up. And I understand what some people are thinking and around the state, and I get it. But I also think the illusion of we're not as big as everyone thinks we are. I mean, we're the 3rd biggest school in our own region. Wapaton and Central Cass have both passed us. Right. I think we're like the 6th largest school in Class A, period. And anything that's not 3 classes, we're Class B. So I think there's a little a thought around the state of we're as big as we used to be, and that's just not the case. I'm not saying you win back to back in the first 3 years it's there. I get the illusion of it, but what happens when somebody else does it? We just happen to have a really good class and a phenomenal players coming through at this moment. I'm well aware, that's not going to be the case every year. And so, we should be staying in Class A. I think that's where we belong. But I do understand the stuff around the state and what people are saying.
Well, and you look back in the years that we were in the upper class, we're playing teams that are 3 times, 4 times our size. There was a little bit of discrepancy there.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is depth at those. We'd have 5 kids that could play, but maybe our 6th isn't ready for the varsity and the EDC, and the EDC and those teams have 7 or 8. But like if you look at the state tournament this year in Class A, there weren't a lot of subbing done by most of the teams there. So like we fit in with that same thing where we're playing 5 or 6, sometimes 7, and that's kind of the same as everybody else at the state tournament. So we move up. Sure, our top 5 probably would be able to compete, but our depth would just change completely with that. And some of and some of our kids wouldn't even get an opportunity to play just because we can't put them on the floor in the EDC. And that's nothing. That's not a slight to any of my players or anything like that. It's just kids are getting an experience now that we played a sophomore, we played freshmen last year. More than likely, if we're in Class 2A, those freshmen aren't getting those opportunities and things like that. And so I just think the opportunities for the kids throughout the state, period, in basketball, which that's what this whole thing was about, is giving 8 extra teams that experience of state and being competitive continuously.
As a coach, how deep do you like to go on the bench?
You would love to. It's hard to say because, you'd like to go deep, but at the same time, it's hard. It's hard to get everyone enough playing time. Playing 8, 9, 10 deep is really difficult, especially when you have certain players that you probably aren't going to take out very much. And so, I think 7 to 8 is a great number. I like to have. It'd be nice. It's nice to have one post sub, and you can rotate between the 2 spots we run there, and then having 2 guards that you can move around in the 3 spots on the outside is a great number. Having extra is a benefit, a luxury, but it is hard to get enough playing time for everybody, especially 4 quarters. And like you get those breaks at every quarter break and things like that where it's like, okay, you're not tired. I understand that. But I think 8 is a great number. Anything more than that is like gravy on the mashed potatoes type of thing.
Yeah. Valley City has experienced many winless seasons over the years and 1 and 2 type win seasons. And now with the success that we're having in that 3rd class, that's got to be really igniting some of the youth.
I hope so. I also think we got into the Moorhead or the Fargo Youth League in the fall, and so we play 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade girls and boys in that, and that's something we hadn't had. And I think that's helped, along with us having the success, some of those girls seeing that and wanting to be a part of it, and so they go out for that school team because it's just a month and a half, I believe, and it's the school team. So it's I'm hoping we did the walkthroughs and everything and giving 5s to those kids and those kids going, I want to do that just once in my career. I want to experience what they're doing. When you say those winless seasons are 2 or 3 wins, like I had several of those. I was a part of them. And so I understand. I think someone told me at the state tournament, they're like, just wait till going to state isn't enough anymore. And I was like, I think I've had enough of the other side where I will be grateful every time we get an opportunity to get there. So, and we only have 1 freshman out, going to be sophomore. And I don't see that changing, but we do have some good numbers coming up. Our 6th grade group has, I think, 14 girls out.
Nice.
So that's a good group of girls. You figure you probably are going to lose about 4 by the time they're freshmen, just naturally. And then 5th grade, I think, had 10 out, and and you start whittling down. My daughter was on the 3rd grade team, and they had 11. And so there's some good numbers down there, and hopefully we can build the program numbers back up.
And so grateful to have the Glant family helping you out. Tom and Tara, they're great with the team too, I think.
Yeah, and they got, their daughters are coming through, and Tara's a good assistant coach, and then she's the one that kind of takes care of all uh, the things that maybe the girls don't want to tell me, or she takes care of like getting the T-shirt. That just there's like these small things that I don't want to have to take care of that she definitely takes off my plate, along with she's got good insight on some things, and she was part of state championship teams in high school, and she understands the effort that comes with that as well. And so her perspective there is invaluable as far as pushing them and making them understand, because I was not on a state tournament team in high school, and so like understanding what it's like to be there, that perspective is just I think invaluable. And then Tom's done a great job with our junior high group, and then he kind of comes up with the C squad, and so he's got that relationship with them. And then he's also got, I might be watching one thing, but they're watching something on the backside, or Tara's watching something on the backside, and Tom's watching something underneath, and then and then suggestions and different things like that on player personnel, or when we maybe should sub, or so and so looks tired, or we're missing a rotation, and then we're able to address that in a timeout. So they help a lot.
And the fan base, unbelievable. Valley City travels well.
Yeah, it was nice to be in our backyard, so to say. Someone said, we had more fans this year than we did last year, and I said that's kind of hard to tell because the dome's so big. We could have had a big student section, but it was spread out super wide at the dome. This was kind of, you're packed in there. I do think we had more people just because it was closer, but the Jamestown Civic Center provided an awesome atmosphere. I thought it was some of the best atmosphere we've played in over the last couple years.
Yeah. Anybody else you'd like to thank?
Oh, geez.
A number of people, I'm sure, and it takes a village.
It does. I need to thank my wife.
For sure.
She, we have 3 little kids, Lennox, Memphis, and Sutton, and she takes care of their schedules while basketball is going on. I try to help out where I can, but without her support, I don't know if it's possible to do this. I got to thank Tristan Johnson. She does a lot of stuff behind the scenes, brought us snacks and different things like that at the tournament, helped set up the stuff when we got home, and not only, I understand that she's Mr. Johnson's wife, but she also has a daughter on the team. And so, she's done a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and doesn't always, I don't think is always appreciated by, our players understand it and our coaches, but others around. And then just the fan base in general, the parents, the students for coming out, and the admin for supporting everything and putting stuff together. And, and then I guess I got to throw one out to A&B Construction, holding up that banner when we came home across the road. That was pretty cool. Just the experience for the kids, getting to see the community and people. And then on our way home, the Sanborn Fire Department was on their bridge, and they lit up their lights and stuff. So obviously, they're outside of our community, but we're still super excited for us. So I just want to give all of them a shout out on, making this experience very special.
Well, Valley City fans have been starving for this for a long, long time, and my hat's off to you guys. It's just a great feeling.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know. It might sink in at some point. Just, last year was making history, first
Yes.
one, right? Go make history. And then, and now we made history at the school again, winning back-to-back, but also making history in the state, being back-to-back in Class A for the first time ever. I don't know if all that has sunk in.
Maybe till you retire sometime.
Maybe, or that 25-year reunion where you're
Right.
recognized.
Yes, definitely. Well, Jimmy, thank you so much for joining us. You can stick around. I'm just gonna go through some things here, and then we'll close her out. Today in sports history, Are you a sports buff?
I do love
Okay.
sports.
1963, infielder Pete Rose debuts with Cincinnati at spring training in Tampa, Florida, hits in his first 2 at-bats. Unbelievable. On this day, 1963, San Francisco Warriors center Wilt Chamberlain scores 70 in a 163-148 defeat to Syracuse Nationals. Guy hit 100 one game. In 1983, former Brooklyn Los Angeles Dodgers manager Walter Alston is elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. In 1991, Eddie Sutton is first NCAA coach to lead 4 schools into the playoffs. Eddie Sutton. Sports birthdays today. You might remember this name. Lynn Swann, Hall of Fame wide receiver, Super Bowl MVP, Pittsburgh Steelers. 1961, Pam Oliver born, American sportscaster from Texas. Born on this day, 1965, Rod Woodson, NFL cornerback, kick returner, 11 Pro Bowls, Super Bowl 2000, Baltimore Ravens. Born on this day, this one you'll remember. Born on this day, 1970, Kurt Warner, the Hy-Vee box boy, incredible story, NFL quarterback and 2-time MVP. Known for his Cinderella story. Born on this day, 1972, Matt Kenseth, auto racer. And born on this day, 1998, Justin Herbert, quarterback for the Chargers. Other birthdays, Chuck Norris, 85 today. Carrie Underwood is 42. Let's see, who else do we have here? Oh, Laurel Clark. Born on this day, 1961, she died alongside her 6 fellow crew members in the Space Shuttle Columbia disaster in 2003. Joke of the day, I get this from my granddaughters. Okay, here it is. Granddaughter's up in mine. I get the joke of the day. What do frogs wear on their feet? What do frogs what do frogs wear on their feet? Well, Jimmy, it's the open-toed shoes.
Oh, there we go.
Open-toed. Oh boy. Anyway, some thoughts and prayers going out to the Courtney family. Connie Courtney was a longtime teacher and coach at Valley City Public Schools. I think she even had basketball for a while, didn't she?
Yes.
Her husband, Doug, passed away recently. I grew up knowing Doug. He was an Oaks Tornado. I was an Ellendale Cardinal. We didn't like each other, but we did like each other. Played against each other in high school sports. Friends throughout the year. And again, our prayers to Connie and their son, Drew, on Doug's passing. That is all for this week's Toast and Jam. Would like to thank our guest, Jimmy Howard, again. Jimmy, thank you so much, and congrats to you guys.
Well, thanks for having me, and I know you guys talk about us on your podcast, so I had to make sure I got down here.
Oh, that's much appreciated, I'll tell you. Would also like to thank our producer today, Austin. Thank you very much. And we hope to have Paul McDonald back again. I know he's got he's got a million jobs. I don't know how he does it, but we'll have him back next week. Toast and Jam presented by Valley City State University. Tim Ost for the jam. Tim Ost Toast saying bye-bye for now. Have a great week.